where we help our prospective franchisees to know our industry leaders better and to evaluate the business opportunity after hearing from them directly. My name is Ashita Marya, and I'm the CEO of Franchise India, and will help you assess and unleash the risks and opportunities involved in the DTDC Express opportunity today. Franchise India exhibitions from past 22 years has been providing a platform to thousands of investors to evaluate the franchise opportunities for themselves by coming face to face in our 100+ shows that we do nationwide. Going ahead in these times, we're doing the same activities virtually and helping our investors meet the franchisors online. We have Mr. Abhishek Chakraborty today, who's the ED of DTDC Express, who would be talking about the upcoming trends within the industry, which is courier and cargo, and what his company has to offer for the existing prospective franchisees. He's transformed DTDC through implementing automation and digitization. An electronic engineer and IIMB alumni joined, in fact, an investment banking group, which is Lehman Brothers, and he was a consultant with Accenture before joining DTDC. Established in 1990, DTDC Express is engaging about 42,000 resources with over 4 zonal offices across India. They have over 570 operating facilities. DTDC Express has more than 500 district headquarters and has about 11,000+ franchisees. It extends services to over 11,400+ pin codes across India. They deliver about 12.5 million shipments every month. That's humongous. So I would, there are a few ground rules for our investors and the attendees today. During the webinar, you can post any Q&A for your reference. We will certainly take them up by your name and would request Abhishek to also take them up. And now I would look forward to hearing from Abhishek. So Abhishek, we can start, about from where really did this idea come? I mean, why DTDC Express? I understand Mr. Subhashish Chakraborty started it, and I had a fortunate incident of meeting him in about way back in 2002, 2003, and that's when we started working. Right. So how did this idea come up?
Thank you, Ashita, for that kind introduction. Very interesting question that you've asked regarding how we started this business. Obviously, I need to step back to 30 years ago, 1990, and when our chairman actually founded this company. As they say, many things you create in life, not because you really set out to do those things, but also because necessity drove you towards those opportunities. And I think our story of DTDC story is very much one of that. Our family in particular, our chairman had got no previous background of having worked in this express parcel industry, logistics, or any of the related supply chain, mediums. I think it was more of a time when actually he was in a transition period where his prior business that he was in, which he was heading for a very large insurance player back in the day, and he was heading their entire team for the southern part of India. Due to certain regulatory changes at that point in time, that business entirely came to a grinding halt. And therefore, here was a man who was obviously a very enterprising individual, always had the desire to be an entrepreneur and foster entrepreneurship as well, who was looking for an opportunity and a break to get into a line of business which would probably give him the chance to really express himself and create opportunities for others as well. I think his desire to get into the express logistics space was more out of that necessity, along with an experience, because in this transition period, he tried his hands and dabbled with a couple of things. But in almost all businesses that he tried to do, he realized that the one common problem which everybody faced in India, and I'm talking about India of the late 1980s, is that there was no reliable way by which you could send your packages and shipments from any one part of the country to another. At that point, this industry was largely dominated by the Indian Post, especially for express parcels. And then you had transporter networks. So transporters would serve the large industrial players, but for the average individual who needed to send small packages, shipments, documents, lorry receipts, as they used to be called back in those days, it was very difficult to execute your work. And then obviously due to limitations probably the postal services did not have enough to offer. I think once he saw that there's a massive opportunity, he himself experienced the pain as an end user. I think that's when he said that, okay, let me try and understand this medium better, and let me try and get into this space and learn what it is about. Of course, like the struggles of any typical entrepreneur are, at the very start, lack of capital, lack of resources obviously were the biggest challenges. And we are talking about an era where, being a startup was not a fancy thing. Nobody really looked at investing money on startups, let alone the banks. So with very frugal and means and very limited amounts of capital, which he basically got by selling his wife's jewelry, my mother's jewelry, with a small amount of capital, he just started off with a couple of offices, and soon realized that it won't be possible to really serve in this express parcel document space if you can't have a network. Because at the end of the day, if you look at any supply chain logistics business, it's a network business. If you don't have a network, you don't have anything. You can have everything else, but without a network, it doesn't just take off the ground. And also, he realized that he did not have enough capital to really go and invest on hubs and branches and facilities and people and resources on a large scale. And that's when the idea of merging the concept of an express parcel business with the idea of franchising actually came up for him. So DTDC's birth and DTDC's story is as much a story about how we have pioneered the concept of franchising in an industry in which typically, if you see globally, franchising is probably not the way most people go about it. You typically have people who start from the transport sector, and they acquire assets, and they slowly acquire facilities, and then they expand the network and try to do most of the work themselves. And we took a very contrarian view to that. We said, we don't have resources, we can't add so many people, we can't hire so many employees to begin with. So why not? And given his past experience and knowledge of creating network of people, which was a primary requirement in the insurance space, he set about the task of creating a vast network of young individuals and entrepreneurs, who actually ended up trusting in this idea and said that if we, with very limited amounts of capital, can actually start getting into this space and start being part of the network, is there an opportunity for us? Yes, a few things clicked for us, and of course I can give more details as the today's session goes along. But I think principally what worked for us was the simple idea that you connect a group of entrepreneurs and individuals who all understand that this demand already existed, the fact that it's an essential service, and we understand that language now more so post-COVID-19, what essential truly means. But back then, it's an essential service which people wanted at fairly decent competitive costs, where instead of creating a huge asset-driven network, you build an asset-light network of, composed of equally driven and like-minded individuals who come together, act as your franchisees, act as your partners, I would call it. And that's how we started for our first networks in the southern part of India, and slowly we expanded, and the story just, it kind of mushroomed, one good success after another. And that's how today, starting from a very small base of a few franchisees way back in 1990 in southern part of India, mostly Bangalore centric. Today, our organization spans a massive countrywide network. There's hardly any part of the country that we don't reach. And in our latest numbers, it's more than 11,000. We're actually 12,000 channel partners is what DTDC engages today. So to summarize, it's a classic story of, you do what it takes to survive, you do what it takes to grow, and you realize that entrepreneurship is at the heart and soul of any good business model, especially one in our industry, especially the way DTDC does it. So that, I would say, is a gist of how we began.
Okay, that's great. That's very interesting. So what all things, do you provide to a franchisee? If you can just quickly take us through a so-called a business model as to how does it really work for them?
Sure. So, our franchising model, our model for our channel partners has obviously evolved a lot over the years. But what we have right now in place is a very well-oiled machinery that we've created. And it essentially starts with the first process is where we actually identify opportunities in terms of territory and markets where we need our partners from both a sales and service point of view. And that is when our franchise recruitment process begins, where we actually scout for potential entrepreneurs using different mediums, internet, social media, our own website, which incidentally gets massive amounts of hits from interested customers, interested entrepreneurs as well. We also have other channels through which we encourage a lot of channel partners. And because of the word of mouth publicity that we have created, a lot of individuals on a daily basis actually submit their inquiries to us. That's where the journey begins. But what we do after that is we actually have a very clear checklist which tells what are the essential qualities that you need to have. And when I say qualities, it's a healthy mix of availability of a suitable office, for example, to begin with. And in our case, you don't need a tremendously large amount of space. On an average, our average channel partner requires only about 100 to 200 square feet of space in a market area, which is either close to a commercial industrial space or close to a strong residential area, where you can expect to have a frequency of people who will want to reach that space to connect their parcels, their shipments. Along with that, we obviously look at the educational background of individuals. Yes, in our industry, while we don't require extremely complicated educational qualifications, at the same time, one of the primary requirements we put, and that will bring me to the next point, one of the primary requirements for us is to have a fairly good handle of basic technologies, such as use of systems, use of mobile devices, use of applications. That definitely comes extremely handy, because once you're selected as a channel partner, subject to meeting those criteria, submission of an application, provision of a small security deposit, which is needed as a surety to ensure that we can give credit to you and help you do business. After that, it's the company that gets involved with the individual completely right from the start, giving you all the specifications and requirements in terms of what are the items and activities that you need to invest on, what are the assets that you probably require, how do you set up your office, how does the brand need to be represented, because every channel partner of DTDC is an exclusive channel partner and therefore gets access to display our brand, access to represent our products and services to all our customers. And most importantly, all new channel partners undergo a very strong induction program where they are completely handheld by our own special team that we have, an onboarding team that we have, which actually takes them through the nuances and the essential learnings of how to manage the business, how to handle customers, how to handle parcels and packages, gives them the complete operational and sales training. And along with that, we give our channel partners a complete set of digital tools, because today our entire channel business or franchising business is completely digitally driven, right from how you will get leads from customers to how you will assign airway bills or dockets to customers, to how you will track those shipments, connect those shipments into our network, and ultimately invoice your clients or get invoices from DTDC itself. All of that life cycle and journey is completely managed through our different digital platforms and tools that we have created, which means that you probably don't even need to invest too much on very heavy and desk-bound systems. We believe in a concept called office everywhere, business everywhere, customers everywhere. And what that motto means is that once you become a channel partner of DTDC, you're not limited to do business only from that office in which you operate. You're free to do business from anywhere across the city, or even across the country, or even across the world as a result of our international and global network. So we believe in empowering our partners with the right set of tools and technologies so that they're free to do business and they are empowered to provide service, because our channel partners also connect parcels to us as sales and also deliver packages for us as a part of their service. That's how the entire network is organized.
Okay. And what is the total investment which is required from his side, including everything?
So all put together on a traditional basis, if I talk about the metro cities, and I'll use the metro cities as an indicator, because that's where probably the biggest demand generally tends to be. Along with the security deposit that you provide to the company, we look at average about 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees initial investment. That's the capital expenditure, I would say, in terms of the deposit and the basic assets that you need to put in place. Obviously, a lot of this is just in setting up your office. But if you really look into in terms of the operating expenditure, depending upon the amount of business that you're going to do, you would need to have at the very least a minimum of 2 to 3 resources, one to man your offices and a couple of resources to manage the deliveries that you will be expected to do. And in terms of consumables, there's not a lot of investment that is required, because most of our processes are paperless and even those which are paper driven are blended into the cost of doing business, which means you actually don't have to invest a lot from your own pocket. It's actually paid for by the services that you're going to provide to your customers. So in reality, I would say the biggest investment is only the initial lead investment that you make, which is never more than 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees, including the deposit that you make to the company. And also, as you move away from the cities, the investment amount actually reduces, because you expect a much more frugal and much more simpler setup for our rural partners. We make much more simpler setup for them. We expect the demand also to be very different. So there, I would expect not more than 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh rupees would be needed. So anywhere in the range of 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh to about a maximum of 3 lakhs would be a very basic minimum investment that one would need to make. Yes, beyond that, depending upon your customers, depending upon your nature of business, eventually as you grow, you end up investing in other assets such as smaller vehicles, or small pickup trucks to manage for your larger parcel customers. But the beauty of that model is you don't make a lot of sunk cost or fixed investments without business. You actually make the investments as you get the business, which means the two things tend to go hand in hand. And a good net operating margin is something we guarantee for our channel partners.
Okay, all right. So you give them an opportunity to grow beyond as well. So, for example, in terms of geographical restrictions, so do they have one? When they're smaller, and do they get bigger areas as they grow?
So our model is a little more, I would say, open-ended. Open-ended in the sense that what we believe is that you get a primary area that you are allocated. And the main reason why you're allocated an area is because we want you to serve that area, especially from the delivery perspective.
Okay.
Right? That's the primary reason why we have you in a particular area. Of course, we also try to ensure that most areas that have delivery requirements also have commercial activity, and in turn, business also happening from those areas. However, as you progress and as you grow, you also get a chance to go beyond your own area in which you primarily located yourself. And as you get customer leads and opportunities, you also get a chance to go and manage business from other areas. However, let me make it very clear, at every point in time, there is a large team that we have within the organization. It's called the channel team of DTDC, which helps manage these areas and also helps manage the customer profile. So what we always ensure is, once a franchisee acquires a customer loyally, we ensure that unless the channel partner is violating any norms, which is very rare, we ensure that that channel partner gets the opportunity and right to serve that customer, so as to ensure that a healthy relationship or a healthy alliance between customers and channel partners is maintained. And maintaining this healthy balance is the primary responsibility of our channel team, because we maintain the data, the information, we provide the support. We also ensure if there are any niggles or challenges that might come up due to territorial differences, we tend to manage that. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that answers that question, right? Ashita, I can't hear you. For some reason, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. Yes, now better.
Yeah. So definitely it does answer the question. So say, for example, if somebody wants to get into, particularly this franchising opportunity, so what do you suggest, as per the qualification or interest, you've certainly, aligned that. But in case somebody doesn't have that and he looks forward to do something, can he start, by, say, for example, there's certain franchisors who help franchisees who are good, who are entrepreneurial, to help them, even financially, or even helping them out in any other area that they require. So does DTDC also do that?
Yes, of course we do. And our experience generally tells us that such help is largely needed as you move away from the major cities. So today in the major cities, I think, thanks to the basic growth of the economy, the country, and the fairly decent spread of education as well, I think the minimum qualifications which we look for from individuals is largely present, number one. Okay. Number two, what we expect from people is that if you can use simple tools like WhatsApp and email and your basic daily application, which now almost has become the lifeline of almost all metropolitan citizens, the rest of the training and rest of the knowledge is going to be provided by the company. So we will acquaint you, we will teach you our processes, we'll make you understand our systems. But I think going beyond that, especially when you look from people who come from slightly more frugal backgrounds, or sometimes we also observe that many a times we find that some individual who has worked as a delivery boy for another channel partner or even a delivery boy for the company has learned the job well, has acquainted himself with the company's processes, and now wants to come up and probably invest some little amount of money and become a partner to the company. And I think we absolutely encourage that practice, because we say that the best thing you can do is if you already know what the line is all about, what the expectation of customers is all about, what the sensitivity that customers place on their parcels, and therefore the human connect and the human, I would say, focus that you need to maintain. I think the other things are definitely can be taught, and we have done that. We have our education programs that we run for our partners. We have intense training programs that we run for our partners. We have our own training facilities where we train not only our couriers, not only our shop floor operators on our parcel sorting centers and our branches, but indeed our channel partners as well. And we actually put them through the rigor. And we say that if you want to be a good franchisee, first learn to be a good delivery boy. First learn to be a good pickup agent. First learn to be a good sales executive. So in a way, we actually put them through the hoops of all of those processes. And our experience has said that, probably the education, the training is actually the biggest support that one can provide. And apart from that, if we find enterprising individuals, if we find people who are quite keen, who have got the right discipline, who have got the right attitude, many a times the company, depending upon the situation, also helps them by giving them certain discounts or giving them certain relaxations as far as their initial capital investments are concerned. We're giving them a slightly extended time period by which they can make those investments and come on par. So for us, yes, there are certain protocols and rules, but as a human organization and a humane organization, what we really look for is the drive and the spirit of an entrepreneur. That's what we look for. If we find the spirit of an entrepreneur, which can't always be put into exact specific rules and regulations, it's something you assess based on experience. But when we find that drive, we go out of our way to support them both financially and also in terms of giving them support systems, education, training, all of that. I think that's the way we approach that scenario.
Okay, that's very great. So once somebody becomes your franchisee, what is his the revenue stream? So he earns on every packet delivered, or he earns on every contract that he gets to get it delivered?
Correct. There are primarily three models on which a channel partner can earn from when he works with the company. I'll try and explain each of them in brief as soon as I can. Let me start with the first and most interesting reason why channel partners would join is on the revenue earning side, where they get to do sales. So our model is that the majority of our channel partners are allowed to work with customers directly, where they are the ones who handle those customers. Either those customers are retail consumers, that is people who walk into their stores and give them daily business for which they charge them using our tariff cards and tariff charts and take, either using credit card or cash they collect from them against an invoice. Or they also have credit customers, where the company allows them to go and procure a customer and sign a small contract with those customers and pick up the business on credit. So these are the two primary mediums by which a channel partner gets to pick up a customer. And our model says that as long as you are charging a price which is anywhere between the MRP, which is set by the company, and the transshipment price which the company is going to charge to you, as a channel partner, you have the freedom and flexibility to sign accounts with your customers. So indeed, what happens is our channel partners invoice their clients, and we invoice our channel partners for what is known as a transshipment fee, which is nothing but a fee for connecting packages into the network. And post that, the entire cost of managing the network, managing the transportation, middle mile, first mile, last mile, is then managed by the company. So therefore, a channel partner principally brings business either through customers who walk into his store, or where he goes out like a salesman, goes out on the feet on street and goes and procures customers in his area and territory, depending upon the size and nature of the business. Apart from that, there are also certain larger strategic contracts which sometimes channel partners bring to the company, where it is not possible for the channel partner himself to manage the entire process. Because as you can understand, as the company or corporate becomes larger, there are lots of other requirements where the channel partner may not be able to manage all aspects of the business himself, which is where we then collaborate with the channel partner and create a model where he continues to play a key role in serving the customer, whereas the company provides all the support in terms of customer management, relationship management, backend systems, data information, and all of that. And that is where the channel partner also gets to work with the company and earn revenues from the company through different kinds of models, including commission-based structures. This is as far as their participation on the income generation or the first mile side is concerned. Also, as I told you, one of the most important responsibilities for our channel partners is the deliveries that they do for us. So when a channel partner delivers a package for DTDC, for every single package, depending upon the nature of the package, depending upon the weight of the package, you actually get paid on a per package basis. And additionally, if you provide certain dedicated resources for the company for delivering larger volumes or delivering specific products which the company does for some of its customers, you also get engaged on a fixed cost and variable cost basis to engage with the company. So which means that the idea is, at the very least, you will definitely get paid per package. But in addition to that, if you want to engage with the company where the company needs more resources and assets, and you can provide the same, you also get paid for those assets on a fixed come variable model. So in a way, as a partner, you can expand on both sides. You can expand by continuing to get more customers and therefore earning on the parcel generation side. And you can also engage with the company more resources on the last mile side, and you therefore get paid depending upon the nature of the parcels, nature of the demand that we have for those parcel deliveries. So both these streams and these different ways are the ones by which a channel partner's revenue streams get created.
Okay. So does that include, we understand that you serve a lot of e-commerce customers as well. So that includes those deliveries also with the same network?
Absolutely, absolutely. Our network handles every package, right from very large parcels, which are more than 100 kgs for a single docket, which is large parcels with multiple boxes, which is for the B2B customers. And also we deal with smaller e-commerce B2C direct to home packages as well. Both are handled by our channel partners. And indeed, many e-commerce companies, especially if you look at the long tail of e-commerce and the smaller e-commerce customers or players, especially the niche and boutique e-commerce customers, those customers are also managed by our channel partners, which means that it's not just that the company engages with e-commerce large players, the big ones that you hear and see, but it's also our channel partners who get to work very closely with the long tail. And as you might have noticed in India, the long tail e-commerce segment is growing in a very healthy way. And our channel partners are ideally suited because they're present in every nook and cranny where such people are running their businesses. So you could be a lady running a Facebook business, and our channel partner would be your ideal partner with whom you can engage and get a complete service, complete solution with technology, with everything to manage your parcels.
Okay. So something what you would offer as a corporate to a client is what he'll be able to offer to a local entrepreneur as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. We make sure that all tools and technologies, the primary tools and technologies, are the ones which are actually provided. So a channel partner gives the same customer experience to his customer as if the customer would be dealing directly with DTDC. That is always our primary requirement, which is why we only deal with exclusive channel partners. You are not allowed to do any other express logistics business from your enterprise because we need you to do all of the work with us. And that's why we will be giving you all the tools and technologies to do your business with us for your customers.
Sure. And do you do mystery checks with them in terms of delivery, quality, and how often does it happen?
Absolutely. I think it's an absolute continuous exercise. Mystery shopping, measuring quality parameters, a constant feedback process, a digital process by which we actually have planned interventions with channel partners to review their progress, to see their health scorecard. So our entire channel network actually maintains a digital database of a channel partner's complete life cycle and progress. Apart from the actual physical input that comes in from our field resources who manage those channel partners. So roughly in our network, for every 25 channel partners, there is one dedicated resource from the company who on a continuous basis is interacting with those channel partners, supporting those channel partners, monitoring those channel partners, and also at times analyzing what they're doing. So in a way, you can see that at least once a month, you can be assured as a channel partner of DTDC to get a physical connect and a touch point with a DTDC resource. So you can then discuss your issues, your challenges, your grievances, if any, And also the company gets the users an opportunity to make it very clear. We've been observing you. This is what you've been doing well. This is what is not going so well. And here are a few things which you might not have done correct. Maybe it's because of lack of knowledge, but we want to train you and we want to alert you. Please correct yourself. Otherwise, we'll have to take other actions on you. So that's a continuous process that happens in our network. We do that. Obviously, every action of our channel partner from sales to service is on our digital platforms, which means even if physically we cannot reach them, every day, round the clock, 24/7, at my fingertips, and therefore at the fingertips of all my managers, we have live updates about what's going on in the network of our channel partners. So if you pick up a package, I know about it. If you are delivering a package, I know about it. If your rider is on the way to meet a customer, I know about it. I can track it on a map and I can figure out what's going on. That's the way we monitor the whole network.
Sure. Now, all these e-commerce companies, largely the small companies or the big companies, has a lot of cash collection also at the doorstep.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
is that also being done by the channel partners, or if so, how do you manage it?
Yes. That's a fantastic question, Ashita. In fact, that's something I'm quite proud of sharing with everybody. That we knew that if we have to do this business, we cannot say that our channel partners will not collect cash or they will not collect CODs from customers. They had to be trained, they had to be run through the process. So we actually innovated and we worked with one of India's largest banks, and we created an exclusive wallet only for DTDC and its channel partners. Now what that wallet does is, as soon as a channel partner collects the money, he need not even visit my branch. He need not even go to any bank. He collects that money and then uses a digital wallet that I've created exclusively between him and the company, using any of the payment mechanisms, whether it is credit card, debit card, UPI payment, or any of the other popular wallets that is there. He can automatically and instantaneously transfer that money into the digital wallet, through which the company therefore receives the COD money. And as soon as he makes that money payment into the wallet, whatever are his charges and his receipts, including all his service bills and service charges, they all get credited into his wallet, along with various interesting and attractive incentive schemes that get passed on. So which means that you need not physically be in connection with my branch beyond the point to actually handle that money, because we have told our partners, we don't want to make you waste your energy nor waste the energy of our resources in physically handling cash with you. You collect the money, that money comes to you as a cash income. Against that money collected, you make a digital payment transfer, and then at your convenience, you can deposit that money. And even to help our rural channel partners to deposit money, we have made a very simple and easy system working with India's largest bank, which is SBI. So in the remotest corners of the country, if and when you accumulate a lot of money and you want to go and deposit that money, you have the freedom to go and deposit that money into that account, which is exclusively managed and maintained and gives a complete visibility between a channel partner and the company. So we have actually innovated. In fact, our this special technology that we made, it's actually received an award from the Asian Banking Organization last year in Malaysia. We were awarded with that because it's a solution that has actually made a huge change. It used to be a nightmare about 4 or 5 years ago when our partners used to collect money and used to struggle, but we completely eased out that whole process. Now we are further taking it to the next level. In 2020, DTDC is creating technologies where our partners not only can connect physical cash, but post COVID-19, they will be in a position to actually collect money from customers directly using credit card, debit card, UPI, and all other digital payments, and yet be able to see that money in their wallets. So we are actually gearing up this year to ensure that probably a complete physical cashless transaction and yet providing a collect on delivery, as they call it, can be created. It's already work in progress. It's being piloted in the major cities. But by mid 2020, it will be available for all our partners across the entire network.
Okay, all right. So otherwise, the channel partners, when they collect money from the customers, so do they take it in your favor or they take it in their own favor? I mean, cash is one component, but if the checks come in or the regular clientele.
Yes. So as we said, our model is very simple. For all customers that are directly handled by the channel partner, subject to the norms that have been prescribed by the company, our channel partners have the freedom to invoice their clients. As I said, with conditions, they have the right and freedom to invoice their clients. We do not invoice their clients. However, we provide them all the primary data they need so that they can provide a proper GST-enabled and completely compliant invoices to their customers. That's how we do for the primary set of businesses that come from there. Only in those cases where they bring a client to us, which is so large that they cannot invoice those clients, in those cases, we as a company invoice the clients, and yet we allow the channel partner to raise his service charges on us as a company. And yet he is there and present managing the entire interaction with the client. So depending on the situation, but I would say the simple answer would be for the majority, 90% of the accounts that a channel partner handles, he invoices the client, we invoice to him. That's the model that we manage.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he collects money using digital payment, credit card, checks, all of it. Of course, we encourage most of our partners to collect digital payments. And today, more than 75% of our channel partners are collecting digital payments from their credit customers as well.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. So the rate, the percentage is very interesting here. Cash versus, the check. We have a very interesting question which has come up, 3-4 times, which says that Sarath is asking and Manisha is asking it, and a couple of more, that how do you manage your older franchisees? Now they say, having said that, they would be coming in from your earlier generation, which maybe, they would be working with Mr. Subhashi. So how do you manage that generation gap with them while managing them?
Well, maybe on a lighter note, I can very much say that one of the good things for us is our chairman is extremely active and very much there today as part of the network. He's our guiding force. And definitely that plays a massive role in helping maintain that continuity as far as the generations of channel partners are concerned. But I think more importantly, even over the last 10 to 15 years, we've built some very clear practices and policies by which we ensure that no channel partner gets disadvantaged because he's new in the network. At the same time, a channel partner who has been loyal with the company may not have had the qualifications when he started the journey. He may not have been a very, very highly educated person when he started the journey. But we have ensured there are certain policies, processes, and investments and interventions that we have made to ensure that they are absolutely coming in pace with the new generation of channel partners. In addition to that, one of the things that we've also seen is that we have created programs and processes by which a lot of our channel partners are actually bringing their second generation into the business, which means that just as much there's a logical transition that happens in leadership, and you see new leaders coming in, not just at my level, but also new leadership coming in terms of the rest of the management as well. We also see a very, very healthy propensity of our channel partners who've seen success passing on the baton to their next generation and bringing them on board, because now they are seeing that the business is not what the business used to be when they started. When they started the business, it was about a chair and a table and all about pen and paper and a lot of grinding work that had to be done. Versus now they see that the logistics industry has modified so much, DTDC has changed so much over the years, that they see that this is now a very exciting industry for young people to join. And you might have seen in the last 5 years, because of e-commerce and because of everything else that's happening, this industry is right now the most happening industry. You have a lot of youngsters who want to be a part of this industry, who want to be entrepreneurs, who want to do business. So I think that is also something that's helping, that the old generation is actually encouraging the new generation to come, and they are very keen and to join us. They're bringing new ideas. They're absolutely, 90% of the new ideas actually come to us from our channel partners. Let me be very honest about that. Our partners suggest to us a lot of these ideas. For example, the wallet, what I told you so much, it's not a brainchild of ours alone. Our partners told us or guided us towards these ideas. So this young generation, new generation that comes in also helps us in that way. So my answer would be that, yes, there could be minor conflicts at times, territorial and otherwise. But I think we largely try to ensure that new partners should not feel disadvantaged, that they were new and therefore, they are bullied around or anything like that. Absolutely not. We have a very strong system. And let me also add a unique program that DTDC has created within the organization. It's called a special advisory board of the top 500 channel partners of our organization, who act as our primary bridge between the company and the 12,000 channel partners, being a voice from amongst the community to help manage, to help learn, to help teach our larger community, and to help maintain many of these finer balances. So that's another unique concept by which that older generation and new generation find a way to coexist and thrive within this system. Because out of these 12,000 channel partners, more than 8,000 of them have come in the last 6 to 7 years. So that tells you that probably there are more newcomers than probably old timers, if you really look into it.
Okay, that's interesting. And what would be the profitability ratio that they can get? Having said that, of course, it would majorly depend upon the size of the city and the kind of corporates which are there into it. But if we want to talk about a ballpark figure, or what kind of a return they can expect?
See, on an average, our channel partners, when they blend their business as a combination of the retail business, the credit customer business, the deliveries that they do for us, and the other accounts in which they participate along with the company, on an average, we see a healthy gross margin of around 40 to 50% that our channel partners can enjoy in the metropolitan cities. That number probably does not go down to lower than a 30 to 35% even in the rural areas, because if you see in the rural area, it's mostly retail business, and as you know, retail business always has more margins than credit business. It's a common rule of all businesses per se, and that's something we see. 40 to 50% of gross margins that they make. As you grow bigger and bigger as a channel partner, and overcome your daily running expenses, your net margin also is always a healthy 30 to 35%. So on a 50% gross margin, as you grow larger in size, you still end up making 25, 30% net margin, depending upon the size of the business. So if anyone is making slightly lower margin, it's maybe because he's holding a bigger pie. We have got channel partners in our network who give to the company on an annual basis more than 10 CR of business. So you can imagine a partner giving 10 CR of business might be doing 20% net margin. But you can imagine 20% net margin on a 10 CR business is a very, very healthy rate of return. Whereas somebody would be giving me maybe 1 CR of business, but he might be making 25% of margin. But the bigger the pie, the more is the return that you will make out of the business that you do.
Sure.
So it's a combination. But at an average, those are the average numbers that I've indicated to you.
Sure. So Abhishek, in past, about 60, 70 days, that we've gone through because of COVID, and you're out of Mumbai, and I can understand your offices have still not started. Then this cyclone that came up and just, went by. Is this creating any impact on logistics? And if yes, how? Because, we all of us saw during that time, the logistics was hit badly at one time, and then it got open on the other day. But interstate problem always existed. So is that something that creates a problem, or you feel that it can be overcome later? We understand this was quite sudden, and, nobody knew what's happening for these 60, 70 days. So how do you see that time of, so-called when nothing is really moving, flights are not moving, trains are not moving, and, practically you come to a shutdown kind of a situation wherein you not even able to deliver anything, but suddenly, within the cities, it was still a bit of work which was happening, but nothing was coming from outside. You were not going anywhere. So how do you look at the future of, courier cargo, particularly, within these?
Sure. So, I'll answer this question, Shita, by telling a little bit of the background of what has happened in the last 70 days, because I think that's a very interesting story everybody should know. Yes, when it happened, when the whole decision of lockdown started happening in the last week of March, as it kept happening city by city, state by state, as much as for everybody else in the country, it was clearly a very, very massive impact and massive shock for the network, because we are talking about a company, we're talking about a business that is a 24/7 business. Our business never stops. We don't stop for holidays. We don't stop for national festivals. We don't stop for Independence Day. We don't stop for Republic Day. We are running, even on a small way, we run throughout, because that's the only way this network functions. And from that situation to have a state where you're asked to do nothing was obviously a shock. But I think for DTDC, the message was very clear. As I was telling at the early part of the call, we are a provider of service, which is essential for the running of the country. And right from the 24th March onwards, we knew very well that we had a lot of customers, especially if you talk about the large pharma and other essential supplies customers, such as those who made sanitizers, those who make masks, those who make PPE kits, those who make life-saving drugs and equipment, which the government needs. The manpower and machinery and equipment that needs to move for the government to do their job, for the police
Hmm.
forces to do their job. The only way for that material to move was through our networks or networks like ours. And that is why DTDC actually, yeah, I'm quite happy and proud to say DTDC actually never shut down even for a single day throughout this
Hmm.
entire lockdown. Yes, certain facilities of ours might have stayed closed for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, but we pursued with the government authorities, we pursued with the industry bodies and every level. And we made sure that our network kept running, our trucks kept running, even though flights were not operational, we ran our trucks. And not just our own facilities, which is about the 570 odd facilities that you speak about, but we made sure that by late April, early May, our channel partners started coming out. And if I can give you some statistics in terms of what has DTDC managed to do, and therefore you will understand what DTDC's potential for franchise business will be going forward or currently. In the month of April alone, in spite of all the lockdown, DTDC handled more than 10,000 tons of material across the country. And this is only essentials, right? Only essentials, 10,000 tons DTDC moved across the network. That number jumped in the month of May to almost 20 to 22,000 tons, right? So nearly a 2 to 2.5 time jump in terms of tonnage. In terms of shipments, it was nearly a 20 times jump in terms of number of shipments because more small packages started coming into the network. And our forecast says that by the end of June, we will be handling close to about 35,000 tons of material in our network. We will be handling more than close to 50 lakh packages in this period in June. And we are quite happy to say that right now, out of the 12,000 channel partners, more than 9,500 of them are already active. They're already on ground, picking up packages, delivering packages, coming to our facilities and managing them. Even in the city of Mumbai, we are operating round the clock. We operated throughout the cyclone or through whatever crisis that is currently on. The healthy part is that by the end of June, more than 75% of our network, of our business is going to be back to normal.
Oh.
And we are quite hopeful that by July, we would have crossed 100% of what we were doing in January and February, which was before the coronavirus actually hit us. So to simply put it, Ashita, that if there is one industry, if there is one business that is actually an indicator of what India needs to do or how India is going to bounce back, or the first industry that is going to respond and grow, it is going to be the express parcel logistics industry. And therefore, I think of all small and medium enterprises across the country, even if I say so myself, I am probably very hopeful that our partners are probably the ones who are going to bounce back the fastest, who are going to overcome their losses and get back on track and actually start producing returns and profits. Because if India is going for an unlock, and as we see, and India is going to unlocking, it is going to do more and more every week. The virus may or may not go away and it will be here to stay. But with all safety, with all precautions, with all protocols followed, and just to give you a statistic, DTDC has invested more than 1.5 crore rupees worth of money to make sure all our facilities and all our channel partners get all kinds of sanitization and other protection in order to be able to go out there.
Okay.
So just to give you a statistic, we are the first company in India to create a zero contact delivery process by which my franchisees and their riders will actually physically not need to touch a customer in order to pick up or deliver a package. So as a result of all of these things and many more innovations that we are already doing, our network has been very resilient. It's bouncing back at a very strong pace. We are seeing massive growth every day. And we expect normalcy, at least from an economic standpoint, at least from our network standpoint, from our partner standpoint, to be very much there by July end. And by August, and definitely for Diwali, we will be gearing up as far as possible. This is not going to be a normal Diwali for sure. But as far as possible, we are going to be gearing up because we've understood one thing. People need products and services. People, you might put them in their homes, but they need services, they need products. And as long as that need is there, there will be need for strong, resilient express parcel delivery companies. And that is why I think, if anything, this is the best time for entrepreneurs to be joining this kind of a business or this kind of networks, because this industry is absolutely going to be at the front and center. I think everybody's heard the Prime Minister of this country in his last video address that he made, where he clearly said the supply chain industry of India is going to make the economy, the whole mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is going to happen when there is a Atmanirbhar supply chain industry. And I think our network is doing quite well and will continue to do well. That's it.
Sure. So having said that, you already have a network of 12,000 entrepreneurs. How many entrepreneurs more you will look forward to make a part of this team?
See, I think there are very interesting opportunities that are coming up. Just to give you a sense, for example, DTDC is massively going to invest and work on ideas such as hyperlocal space, because
That's
that's going to
very
be
interesting
extremely
area.
massive because
Yes.
of what's happening right now. Post-COVID, our estimations are that many things are going to move to hyperlocal, even traditional businesses. So your traditional mall, you might not go to the mall, but your mall will be delivering to you, right? And
Yes.
that's something that's going to happen. So I think even without this hyperlocal space coming up, our estimations were always to add roughly about 1,000 to 1,500 channel partners on an annual basis. Of course, not just in the metro cities, but also in the tier 2 and tier 3 markets, because India is going to grow massively, and more so now. Just imagine you've got such a huge influx of migrant people going in. Demand is going to now come in a big way from those markets. People will need products and services. But we expected on an average around 1,000 to 1,500 new partners joining us every year, at least for the next 3 to 4 years. But with this hyperlocal addition happening, I think there will be at least another 10 to 20% increase in the demand for partners in this period, at least in the next couple of years. So I would say that you can expect that by 2025, DTDC would be having anything in the range of 18 to 20,000 partners as a part of its network. So there is still a lot of potential. Plus, there is also some amount of natural churn, natural replacements that we keep doing. As you can understand, sometimes certain partners reach an end of life. Either they don't have a second generation, or they cannot continue, or they want to move on to other things, or cannot keep pace with what's going on in the market. So we expect that around a 1 to 2% churn is there every year. Depending on the situation. Maybe this year there'll be a slightly bigger churn, maybe because some people will not be able to survive. It sometimes happens. So maybe this year there'll be a slightly bigger churn. But either ways, it means that there is a potential in the next 2 years for a lot of entrepreneurs to come and join this business. More so than it was before COVID-19. I will say after COVID-19, there's a desire for more partners after COVID.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. And that's what we always say, that, adversity creates entrepreneurs. So it
Absolutely.
creates the
Absolutely.
urge of working more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is the way, I would always say.
True. True. So, Abhishek, with all this, going on, and while you were busy, during COVID time as well, when do you get time to play or to take care of yourself?
I think that's a tough question. I don't think there's been a lot of time to kind of focus on those things in the last 70 days. I think it's been an extremely intense period for us. We are almost working 24/7 because, I think the company has had to discover an altogether new gear for itself. As you can understand, from nothing, we hit rock bottom. There was a period, and I tell this to everybody, there was a day in March where for the first time in 30 years history, the company actually saw zero sales. There was a day, right? And I think that was enough of an alert for us to say that we'll do whatever it takes to push our boundaries, to push ourselves, and kind of do that and move our people. And I think our teams, our partners, our employees have responded fantastically. They've gone out of the way. I'm talking about a city like Bombay, where we've got more than 1,500 people who report to work every day, even though there is no local transport. So you can understand that it's taken massive sacrifices from a lot of people. A lot of partners have, contributed so much, whereas their own homes or their own houses might have been in a lot of disarray. So the fact is that we've all gone out of the way, I think, to do things. Yes, the normal work-life balance probably has been compromised to a big extent. But yes, I think in all of that, I think the relief or the release that we get today, at least for a person like me, I'm a father of a young child, 7-year-old. And that means that one of the things I do if I'm not working is I'm helping her go through her online lessons. I'm sitting with her and doing projects and helping her complete her online classes or interacting with her teachers. And I think, yes, one would love to probably do other things like go out and play a sport, or take your mind off and read a book, which may not be happening as much. But I think even that aspect in our lives, that you get to participate with your children, I think that's a great boon in these 70 days, that I get so much time. I've not had that much time with my child for the last 7 years as much as I've had, or with my wife for that matter, in the last 10, 11 years, as much as I've had in the last 70 days. And I think that human bonding, that human connect, I think that goes a long way in allowing you to push yourself harder and go through that tough cycle. So yes, I think it's not a lot of easy, leisurely things, but simple things like, maybe sometimes going into the kitchen and helping my wife in baking something or cooking something. It's fun. I think those are simple pleasures of life that we are learning to enjoy, or picking up new skills, for that matter.
Yeah.
And I humbly can say that's sometimes also a switching off thing that you do, even if you're not reading books or watching movies or going out and playing a sport. But I think that is the way we find release in these tough times.
Yeah. Great. So what did you learn? Any one thing that you can name that you learned during these days?
Well, one has had a thing that I've not been very good at. I think cooking was not something I was not very good at, and I must still say, frankly, I've not gotten any better at it. But I think what I've gotten better at is managing the groceries. So I'm now an expert at, I know the grocery schedule. I know the grocers to go to. Whether from website or from the physical vegetable vendor, I think I'm quite an expert at that now. I'm quite an expert at cleaning the house, and I'm very efficient at that. Proud of that. I can do dishes much better than what I used to do before, and I now have an altogether new respect for our house help, or the laborers who used to work for us. I think I have a newfound respect for them, and I think they deserve a lot of our appreciation and credit for what they used to do. But yes, I think these are things which if you learn, you become more self-reliant, and I think you feel that you've achieved something. Yes, your work achievements are there, but I think it's a different new kind of achievement that you can be proud of. Hopefully, in Mumbai we still have many days to go. So hopefully a little bit of cooking is also, I'll get a chance to get better at it with time.
Yeah, great. That's what we say, that we are typically the unskilled labor of the house now. So so that's the work that we do.
True.
Great. So it was great, Abhishek. It was a great session, and I enjoyed every word of it. It was wonderful for all the attendees. Guys, most of your answers are being solved already. In case you have any more questions, anything that you want to ask, you can write to us directly. You can even write to us at ceo@franchiseindia.com. I'll be very happy to answer all the queries, and I'll take Abhishek's help as well. In case any of you wanted any answer in particular to DTDC's franchise or the company. And you can even visit our website, which is franchiseindia.com. There are a few links that you can follow us on different social medias. And thank you for being here with us. You've been a lovely audience. Since I've been poured with questions, I'll certainly come back to you onto that. And thank you so much, Abhishek. It was lovely having you with us.
Thank you, Ashita. Thank you. Fantastic. Always a pleasure interacting with you. Please extend, my regards to your entire family. It's been a long time. We've met Sachin and the others. We've not met them in a long time. But thanks a lot. And I think fantastic platform. I think you guys do a great job of focusing on this very important area of growth for India. I'm sure with the Atmanirbhar India story, vocal for local, I think your area is going to be an important area. And I thank all the people who've been on this call. Some great questions. Again, Ashita, please feel free to direct the ones that you feel we need to answer. Please share it. I'll be more than happy. And again, I welcome all interested people. Do reach out to us. Do reach out to our website or any of our DTDC representatives or any DTDC channel partner for that matter. We'll be more than happy to welcome you to our family.
Yeah, great. And please pay our respects to Mr. Chakraborty as well. It's been
absolutely
a good time that I've seen him now.
We'll do so. Thank you, Ashita. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.